Welcome to Take 5 for Torah. Today is Friday, May 16th. It's also Lag BaOmer, the 18th of Iyar. And Fridays we do the Haftorah. So this week is Parshas Emor. And every year for the last 40 years, I mention this man's name on the Haftorah of Parshas Emor. His name is Hananya ben Chizkiah. And on Shabbos Daf Yud Gimel, we're told that if not for him, the book of Yechezkel, which we all know and love, the book of Yechezkel would have been sent away into Geniza. We would not have had it as a book of the Tanakh. It was suggested that it shouldn't be canonized because there are many contradictions between Yechezkel and the Torah. Now, there are lots of contradictions in everything. Life has contradictions. The Torah itself contradicts itself sometimes. We resolve those contradictions. There's actually a Gemara in the middle of Maseches Menachos where a whole list of these contradictions appear, and Rav Yochanan, the greatest of all the Amoraim, says, I don't know how to resolve these contradictions, but by this time, we know that someone named Hananya ben Chizkiah resolved them, and that's why we still consider Yechezkel to be part of the canon of Tanakh. Now, the Gemara in Shabbos that mentions this says that he took 300 candles up to his attic with enough food and provisions, and he said, I'm not leaving this attic until I resolve all these contradictions. Rav Yochanan apparently was not aware of all of them. I'm just going to relate to one of them and its relationship to this Haftorah. The reason why I always talk about Hananya ben Chizkiah and Parshas Emor is because in this Haftorah itself, there are a series of contradictions to the Parsha, for goodness sakes. A Haftorah shouldn't contradict its Parsha, but that's just what this Haftorah does again and again. I'm going to deal with one of them. In the Torah reading, it says that a Kohen may not marry a Grusha, a divorcee. It says nothing about a Kohen marrying an Almana, a widow. The Kohen Gadol, the high priest, cannot marry a widow, but a regular Kohen can. And Yechezkel makes up a halacha, it seems, by saying that a Kohen may not marry a widow as well as a divorcee, but he can marry the widow of another Kohen. Where did he get that from? There's no hint anywhere in Parshas Emor or anywhere else about this restriction to a Kohen. So where did Yechezkel get this? So in the Meshech Chochma of Meir Simcha of Dvinsk, at the end of Parshas Emor, he leaves his usual trend of just commenting on the Torah, but in Emor, he has a special place for the Haftorah for the same reason that I'm sharing this with you today. It's because of all these contradictions, and the Meshech Chochma makes his attempt to resolve them himself. Remember, the Gemara just says that Hananya ben Chizkiah answered them, and the Gemara, that's in Maseches Shabbos, the Gemara in Menachos does its best to put the fact that Rav Yochanan didn't know them, but we're going to try to resolve some of these problems. The Meshech Chochma collects them, and he explains that as a result of the Babylonian conquest, Nebuch, many, many women were violated. And many women were therefore rendered prohibited to being a Kohen's wife. However, if a woman was already married to a Kohen who Nebuch died, so she knew the best way how to avoid being prohibited to another Kohen. So Yechezkel made a fence around this halacha. It doesn't contradict the Torah. It's a prophet who makes a decree that goes beyond the Torah. In fact, anyone who sees a lot of Shas knows that throughout the Talmud, Yechezkel is constantly telling things that we did not know from the Torah itself. Someone who's not circumcised can't eat truma. That's a famous one that makes its way throughout the Talmud. And the Gemara always asks, where did we know this? And it says it's from Yechezkel. Even though Nevi'im are not supposed to be mechadesh any halachas, Yechezkel is telling us something that was already known as halacha l'Moshe Sinai, or an oral tradition. And the fact that Yechezkel wrote down an oral tradition doesn't mean it's no longer an oral tradition. So Yechezkel helps us with a lot of these nuanced halachos, and he made certain protections of the Torah, in this case for the Kohanim. And Hananya ben Chizkiah, remember his name, Zachuro Soa Ish Latova. Because of him, not only do we have this Haftorah, this Shabbos, but some beautiful Haftorahs, the dry bones Haftorah, and the Maaseh Merkava Haftorah of the first day of Shavuos. Really beautiful, beautiful Haftorahs, very special Haftorahs from Yechezkel. Let's celebrate this man, Yechezkel, because of Hananiah ben Chizkiah. This week's Haftorah.